And welcome back. It's GMR. It's Giverson Maina Live. And we are back to the discussion. And we are together with our political analyst, starting on my far right, and Shaban Natembea Kelvin. And of course, Moses Tisa, we are still trying to find another one we can add to him. He becomes Kumi, another day for the better. We're discussing land issues, and of course, let's divert now to IEBC versus the whole scandal of Alghurair. Moses, we'll start with you. Alghurair. NASA is saying that Alghurair tender should be cancelled. And we're about only a month to elections. 45 days. 45 days, Moses.
NASA has not said that it should be cancelled.
It had said.
Kenyans have said that it should be cancelled. So it's not.
It's not Kenyans, but no one has said that. It's only Raila Odinga and company.
Of course, I expect you to say so. But then, let me also help you very fast. In Article 249 of the Kenyan Constitution, what IEBC is doing is in tandem with the Constitution. And in fact, they are doing what is stipulated in the Constitution. So they are walking, and moving around the confine of the Constitution.
NASA has said, the reason why this tender should be cancelled of printing the ballot papers is because it's alleged that President Uhuru Kenyatta has met with the officials of this company, of the printing Dubai company, Alghurair. Now the question is, should this tender be cancelled because of that reason?
No, I was still saying something and you cut me short. So you want my point to happen?
Yeah, let's go on. Let's move on.
My point here is that I told you that if you check Article 249 of the Kenyan Constitution, IEBC is right in what they're doing.
Yeah.
But again, at the same time, IEBC is wrong. Because if it is the Dubai-based printing company that has this tender,
yes,
and they're supposed to undertake this tender before the election.
Yes.
And again, we expect, as per the Constitution, we expect all the stakeholders, all the players and the participants in the election to be included. Mm-hmm. But you see what happened, and in fact, I love what normally happens when NASA leader talks. You normally have a fact. Mr. President met this company long time ago, in fact in 2006.
In 2006, long time ago, very long time ago.
Yeah, they met.
Yes.
And by then, in fact, it was the president and the company. But don't forget one thing, IEBC is supposed and is independent. It is an independent body which should not be compromised by any player. But what we have seen is that the president is trying to compromise the IEBC.
How?
By meeting. In fact, by meeting, it is said, and I don't want to say that it is wrong, it is false. The president met this company, the members of this company. The son Muho is also dragged in, and the evidence has been given out.
No, there is no evidence, Moses.
Our question,
there is no evidence.
Our concern,
yes,
our concern, or the concern of all Kenyans. It is not about NASA. The concern of all Kenyans is having free, transparent, and fair election, whereby we don't say this one has been favored and this one has not been favored, so that we can be able to go for election and come back alive, not with heads and no other bodies. So we expect IEBC to work in tandem with the Constitution, and we expect them to invoke all the chapters and the articles of the Constitution which give them power to carry out election. But if they are taking side, that's why we're saying we are not facing a fair referee. And therefore, we are saying that something
Shaban, yeah. Should we go by what NASA is saying, that this tender should be cancelled for the sake of fair elections, transparent elections, come August?
You see, when the politburos of the NASA and more so, the self-proclaimed latter-day Joshua, say that now, since the Kenyatta's families, like they have been having friendship ties with the company that was awarded that tender, I'm trying to wonder where is the problem in that, because you see, you cannot try to dictate that people should not be friends, because I think that one is the only claim that I've heard from them. They are claiming that there is no way the Alghurair can be given that tender if we know it very well. It's like there are some cloudy plans between the family of the Kenyatta and that company. But I think here I can see there's a conflict of interest in the two camps or in the mainstream parties. It's like, because there are some people who are alleging that Raila wanted there's a particular company from
South Africa, Palm Media.
Yeah, that he wanted that company to be awarded that tender. And since he did not win it, and that's why Raila with his associate, they are busy crying foul. But I think the problem is very simple. the government agency, and here I talk about the IEBC, according to the Kenyan Constitution, they should be independent. Here I mean the government agency should not share the same sheets with the government of the day. But when I hear now the mouthpiece of the Jubilee, dualists of this world, they are coming out very busy, so loudly, trying to defend the IEBC. You see, that's where the problem is, because I think the IEBC itself, it has its formidable communication department, whereby it's supposed to speak on its own.
Yeah.
But when we hear now, there are some people from the government, now they are coming out to defend it. You see, that one sends out a very...
That's where the problem is.
Yeah, that's where the problem is.
And let me add something. I love his concern, and in fact, this is the first time I'm agreeing with this black man here. You see, it is not only Duale who is speaking for IEBC. IEBC has got several spokesmen. I know Uhuru Kenyatta is speaking for IEBC. I know William Ruto speaking for IEBC. I know Murkomen.
I knew you said Murkomen.
Murkomen must speak for IEBC because psychophancy pays. I know Duale speaking for IEBC. But now my big question here, IEBC is supposed to be an independent body. And that one is per the Constitution of Kenya, which was promulgated in 2010, and which the president swore to protect, and IEBC chairman, when coming to office, swore to protect and live by. So it should be independent. But when you find somebody in the name of Duale of this world defending IEBC as if IEBC is their second name, now you wonder, where are we moving to? Are we still independent? Do we still have an independent board? That's the big question here. So even if, because let me tell you this, when the NASA fraternity came up with what is called parallel tallying station, I still remember vividly.
Yeah.
Jubilee sycophants and their onchos came up and told us that we cannot have parallel tallying station because it will give birth to war. But days later, I listened to one of the IEBC stalwart by the name Mwangi Kiunjuri, and Mwangi Kiunjuri should be reminded that as a CS, he should not involve in politics. The man was on record saying that they will also have their parallel tallying station. I was like, this guy said that this thing was fanning violence. But again today, they said that they will also have one. When, again, in the same IEBC, in Article 138 of the Kenyan Constitution, talking about where the election should be conducted, as far as the Constitution is concerned, the IEBC, the NASA went to court challenging IEBC because the IEBC should work in tandem with the Constitution.
Sure.
Do you know who is today now fighting the Constitution?
Who?
Gideon guy of this world.
How?
And in fact, Duale is always speaking against that article. So instead of protecting the Constitution, they are fighting the Constitution. Article 138 of the Constitution is clearly stated that the election should be held at the constituency level, and the tallying be done there, and the announcement be done there. That is the Constitution. So if that is going to fund, because he's saying, argument is, if that is done, then we'll be having 298 countries. That is each constituency.
I agree with
if that is the case,
I agree
let's
with
change the Constitution.
I agree with you, Moses. But have we just said that IEBC is an independent body, and we should not be telling IEBC on how to do its job?
Then who is now defending IEBC in court?
Giverson, there's a problem, and especially people from the opposition. Instead of now concentrating on their campaigns, they are busy turning the IEBC to be the punching bag. So everybody is punching it from left, right, and the center.
But before we move on, have we answered that question?
No, we are coming there.
Yes.
We are answering. You know, we are intellectual, so there is a way we do our things. So I was saying, actually, there could be some problem or some shenanigans in the office of the IEBC. But the problem with the opposition worship team, the problem with them, they lose all their weight and time just blaming the IEBC. When their counterpart, they are busy campaigning. You see, actually, what I would tell them is very simple. I know they have their legal representatives. Why can't they pursue the issues to the court if necessary, or even ponder the responsible body? But you see, now they pick something very small, then they focus on it on the whole day or on the whole of the week. When the trail of the Jubilee being led by His Excellency the DP. They are not leaving anything for chance. They are busy campaigning. So I will tell now the NASA supporters that as much as they would like now to question how the operation of the IEBC is doing, but they have to know that the days are being numbered. Soon we'll be getting to the 8th of August, and I'm sure they will lose irrevocably.
And the question is, before we come to you, Moses, should that tender be nullified?
No, it should,
according to you,
it should not be nullified, considering now the claim. Actually, the problem with the NASA, their claim is what I can say, it's so diluted. Because if they say the Alghurair should not be given the tender simply because they have the friendship with the Kenyatta's family, from where I sit, I can really doubt their political credentials.
Moses, should that tender be nullified?
First and foremost, my brother here, whom I respect so much, is suffering from information oppugnancy. Because
what is that, Moses?
It is the discombobulation. I'm talking about information discombobulation, sir. Because you see, he's saying that NASA is busy fighting IEBC.
Instead of campaigning.
And again, he's saying that now Jubilee is campaigning instead of fighting IEBC. So according to him, now Jubilee has won, NASA has lost. But again, I want to remind him that NASA is not fighting anybody. But NASA is fighting only one thing: incompetence in IEBC. Why am I saying this? When you find your opponent is in bed with because basically with the referee, it is in the public gallery that the spokesman of IEBC, we have a spokesman of IEBC are numberless, and I think I've counted them here. When you wake up in the morning and the first spokesman is Murkomen, Satano, the spokesman, becomes the president. And my deputy nowadays doesn't even campaign. What it does is to defend IEBC. That is what is giving us some kind of fear. We are asking ourselves, are we going to face free, fair, and credible election so that we can be able to come back from the war and say we are now peaceful because we conducted a free and fair election? And don't forget that the lives of the 45 million Kenyans lies in the hand of not Raila Odinga, not Uhuru Kenyatta, but IEBC. And therefore they should work in tandem with the constitution.
But Moses, if today you say that, you know, the current IEBC, it's not competent, then which team will ever be competent? Because, you know, you remove the NASA, it's NASA or it's CORD or ODM who removed, you know, the Hassan-led team, the Hassan team.
Hassan was not removed by CORD or ODM.
By who?
Was removed by the constitution. Because NASA did not wake up from their bed and say, get out.
No, it's not the constitution. It began with the opposition.
And that, what did they do?
They went and
invoked the articles which are in tandem with how these guys should be sent out. And remember, these guys also went out. At that time, the government also had a case with them. I think the kitchen got scandal. And therefore, these guys were supposed to be out of office even before NASA woke up.
Now, are you saying that the current IEBC is incompetent? That is what we're saying.
That is, in fact, thank you for speaking it. Because that is basically what I wanted to say. Why am I saying this? These are human beings in the office. We have got Chebukati in the office, a human being.
They're human beings CEO, and they make mistakes.
We have got CEO who has been accused severally of going to bed with the government in the office. We have got this lady, there's a lady here whose name is now missing in action. This lady has also been in bed with the government. Our cry and our concern is one and the same. We want free, fair and credible. In fact, very.
But how can you say that when this commission, you know, it's barely a few months when they came to office? A few months.
Give us all these issues to do with the incompetency of the IEBC. It can give us two results. Number one, the NASA brigade, they are trying to look for a scapegoat because I assume maybe they have sensed a defeat if there's anything to go with the forthcoming elections. Number two, the IEBC. Now here I talk about, they are trying to look at it, that after the election, and suppose they find themselves in a quagmire, somebody has trounced them. Now they'll say, okay, look here, prior to the elections, we blew the whistle. And we said what? That the Jubilee was not eligible to preside over the elections. But nobody hears. Now you can see what is happening. So are you getting that point? Mm-hmm. But the problem with the NASA, they have been looking for the lame excuses. After this one, it has been resulted, now they come with another one. It's like they have their own laboratory whereby they create artificial problems, because prior to these issues, which is now is trending about the company that was given a tender, prior to that, you can remember what was going on about where the presidential elections should be announced. After that one, it has been resulted now, and also the issue to do with the tally. Now here they have come up with another one, and they are forgetting that very easy, that days are, they are moving very fast. Another thing he has talked about 45 million Kenyans. You see, that one is laughable to me, because I think they are working with this tag that they have 10 million. Then how comes now they are talking about
45 million all of a sudden?
So I think what I'll tell the NASA, they should get to the ground, campaign, and forget about other issues, because others, by the way, they are busy campaigning, and I'm sure these people will lose priority even to the election.
Moses, before you move on, should that tender be cancelled?
Of course, yes. But
yes or no?
Before it is cancelled, yes, it should. It should be cancelled. But again, I think debating somebody in a black suit is very difficult. These people just don't see far. Why am I saying this? When my brother is saying that we are talking about 10 million, we are talking about 45 Kenyans, and we have only 10 million, then I would ask him to tell me where 45 million Kenyans registered to vote. That is the first question. Then here he's talking about the presidential tallying center. I want to remind him that, in fact, I'm happy he is saying that the issue has been resolved, which means when NASA raises an issue, it gets solved. Therefore, we need them to be solved.
But we have many problems, guys. We have many problems.
We want to go.
We have many problems.
We want to go for this election problemless.
Now, let me ask you: is NASA afraid of these elections?
Why?
I don't know.
They're afraid long time ago.
If you say
before the beginning of this year.
If you say NASA is afraid of this election, then I want to remind you two things. One, in 2013, the aggressive object use, and I love he knows what I'm talking about, was ICC. But I want to remind Jubilee that Kenyans don't eat ICC, they eat good living standard. In fact, they eat food. It was ICC. In 2017 again, they have woken up the what? The ICC case. So if you're talking about those who are afraid, those who are fearing defeat, then it is Jubilee. Because these people, Kenyans gave up on Uhuru and his deputy long time ago. And these guys do not have any agenda to run on. We want them to come and tell us when they will be able to deliver on their promises. But instead of telling us all these things, they're telling about ICC, and they're telling about things which are not even resonating with us as common wananchi.
But so Jubilee,
those who are afraid and are losing the first thing in the morning, even before the cock behaves, is Jubilee.
But President Uhuru Kenyatta has been on record saying that if he loses these elections, then life will move on. Life will go on.
Does he behave as if he will concede?
I don't know.
His behavior, his political demeanor tells it all. He's somebody who wants to claim to power because he's using all the government agencies to frustrate NASA, to frustrate IEBC. This person is somebody who's desperately looking for second term.
Now, let's conclude this matter of the Alghurair company. Suppose this tender is cancelled because of the pressure from the opposition. Will IEBC be able to conduct free and fair elections, as far as, sourcing another company is concerned? Is it?
No, it is impossible, because considering the time that has remained before we touched on the D-Day, actually we cannot cancel that tender. Let that tender go on, because it's just because of the self-conflict of interest.
Yes, Moses.
With the NASA,
if we cancel this tender,
getting all these noises.
Shall we be able to organize for an election?
Who organized the tender?
IEBC.
Who will cancel the
IEBC?
The who will organize again the
IEBC?
These are human beings, and therefore everything is possible. Ours is to go to a free and fair match. Even if it will take 10 years. What is the hurry of going to a match who we have the winner already?
Let's finish that matter when you come to let's go to a break, and then we come discuss, conclude that matter.
Thank you.
GML continues right after the break.